Hi everybody, it is Wintermute with Japan's Turn 8.3, January of 1940. So we'll jump right in. So the first two texts that we're going to roll is Improved Construction and then Long Range Aircraft. So we're going to roll Improved Construction first. That's an 11, we get that one. And then we're going to roll Long Range Aircraft. That's also an 11, so we get both of those. So I now have Long Range Aircraft. And that puts Improved Construction at stage 3. As far as builds, so what we're going to build this turn is 4 militia, 2 infantry upgrades, an infantry, an artillery, and 2 marines. We also have our light carrier to place, and 2 light carriers getting placed in the build stage number 2 box, because we're going to go ahead and just officially declare war on the United States. We are also going to officially declare war on France. Let's jump right in. Let me just get adjusted here. So right into our combat moves. So there's quite a bit of movement here, so I'm going to go try to be very clear and concise with it. Oops. So from Siam, we are going to have a fighter and a tactical bomber fly over to the Philippines. From P-41, we're going to pick up a Marine. We're going to go 1, 2, pick up this infantry from Palau, and then go back 1 into P-42, and we're going to drop off an infantry, or a Marine and an infantry into the Philippines. Let's see. Also, yep. From P-41 to P-53, let me make sure that's in shot as best I can. We're going to have this Marine get picked up by a destroyer and move over to here and get dropped off in New Britain. There we go. From P-41, we're going to have this fighter and this tactical bomber come up here to P-32 and go on map to try and sink that French sub. From P-41 to P-15, we're going to have this destroyer move up here, and that is ultimately going to get paired with this seaplane to try and sink that British coastal sub. So that seaplane is from Formosa and going to P-15 as well. From P-51 to P-63, we're going to have him pick up this Marine from Sarawak. And he is going to move over here to... Nope, he's going to go to P-64, not P-63, excuse me. So he's going to go to P-64 from P-51. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I had to change my mind on that. He's actually going to go, he is going to go to P-63, and he's going to drop off a Marine in Queensland. All right. From P-41 to P-42, we're going to have this heavy cruiser come over here for its shore bombardment. From Sydney into South Wales, we're going to move New South Wales, I should say. We're going to move 1 artillery to capture that territory. From P-72, we're going to pick up a Marine from Sydney using a destroyer. And that guy is going to go up to P-64, and he's going to drop off a Marine into New Guinea. From P-72, we're going to pick up these 2 Marines out of Sydney, and we're going to slide over and we're going to drop them both on the South Island. Just giving it a quick scan to make sure that that is everything I intended to do. Even when you make notes for yourself, sometimes something slips by. Oh, and from P50, back over here, P50, we're going to take this sub, and we're going to have him go 1, 2, and he's going to come up here to P43 to sink that American transport. Okay. All right, that's it for the combat moves. So, before we roll anything, let's go ahead and we will take care of placing some roundels and doing some quick adjustments. So, South Island and New Zealand is taken for 1 point. New Guinea and New Britain are both taken. That's New Guinea's worth 1 point. Queensland and New South Wales are both taken. Those are each worth a point. That takes care of that and that. And then we're going to go ahead and sink this American transport here in P43. Just get that out of the way. I believe that's all the walk-ons and easy kills. So we're going to go ahead before I do anything else, and that means 1, 2, 3. Anzac goes down 4. So that puts them at 1. And then Japan goes up 4 to 29. Oops. All right, let me adjust here just a bit. Now that those units are out of the way, we can go ahead and just put that down right there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to roll against the coastal sub in P15. I have a 4 for the destroyer, which misses, and I have a 3 for the let me adjust that. I have a 3 for the seaplane, which misses. Not surprising. So he survives. And then the French sub in P32. We're gonna have a 7. Yeah, it's a 1, so he's dead. There's nothing for him to shoot back at. Oh, I'm sorry. The coastal sub does get to shoot back at a 2. So we'll roll that, and that's a 10, fortunately a miss. Okay, then we have the Philippines. Yeah. So I'm going to have a shore bombardment of 2 for the heavy cruiser. Whoops. Let's try to get... and you know, it's a 1. It's a 1, but it's out of here, so I'm not going to... Obviously not going to take it. 7 misses. Then I have a 7 for the tack, and that hits. Then he will have a 2 on the defense, which misses. So the Philippines... So that moves the United States down 2 to 61 and Japan up 2 to 31. That is all the combats I need to roll. I had a lot of raiding to take care of, but Jinx took care of all of it for me, so there was a lot less dice to roll when I was done doing all the math. So as far as non-com movements go, got quite a bit of those as well. So from Adam Tonkin into Burma, we're going to walk 1 infantry. And then from Burma, we're going to take the Marine that's there and walk him down to Siam. Right, yeah. Let's stay up north here. In northern Manchuria, we're going to rail this mountain down to Korea. We're going to walk these 3 infantry from eastern Manchuria to Korea. From northern Manchuria, we're going to walk these 3 infantry down to western Manchuria. And everybody else is going to stay put in Rihe. Right. Okay, I'll scoot back down here. We're going to have this fleet carrier move over to P-42. And he's going to take these ships that were on map in P-32 back on board. We're going to go ahead and land, let's see. This seaplane in Kyushu. That destroyer will stay there. The 2 planes that fought in the Philippines, the TAC and the fighter, will go back to Siam. Then we are going to take this light carrier and move him over to P-64, and this fleet carrier, God, nobody wants to stand up today, move him over to P-64 as well. Yeah, we'll clean up some of these piles when we're done. We are going to take this torpedo boat destroyer that is in I-12 and move him over to I-7. These guys can stay put. They can stay put. We are going to move the submarine in P-44 down to P-64. Let me double check, make sure I've got everything on the list. Yep. All right, and now we're going to go ahead and, you know what, this might be a little bit easier this way. Unfortunately, I don't have the really big map anymore, so I found that I have less space to work with, so I got to do some of this shifting as I go. So, from P-72, we are going to actually strategically naval move 1 transport up to Palau, and he's going to go into port in Palau. I'll put the marker down later. And then these 2 transports here in P-72 are going to slide over to P-73. We're going to have 1 battleship come up here to P-64. We're going to have 1 battleship come over here to P-73. We are going to have a destroyer come over to P-73 and a battle cruiser also come over to P-73. Let's see, we will have, yeah, that's fair. We are going to have over to P-73 also these 3 heavy cruisers. So that leaves a light cruiser. We're going to have the light cruiser move up to P-64. and join that fleet up there. And that does cause the North Island and New Zealand to become blockaded. As is British Malaya. Now, well, I'm going to just take a moment and kind of glance at things, make sure I'm happy with how things are kind of laid out. 1, 2, 3. Yep, I'm good. All right. All right, so that wraps up the actual movement and combat movements. I am officially at war with France and the United States at this point. My income is at 31. My total, I'm going to get 2 bonus income from having the Philippines, so I'm going to collect a total of 33. Now, I want to put out 2 clarifications just moving forward. So, when I attacked Sydney, the rules were unclear about how to determine what is a mountain territory and what is not a mountain territory. So, it's been officially ruled and clarified in the rules that Sydney would now count as, well, they clarified how to determine that. So, Sydney would have been counted as a mountain territory, the whole thing would have been a mountain territory, but I treated it just as a coastal mountain when I went into Sydney. And we agreed amongst ourselves that that doesn't make sense to consider it a mountain territory for its entirety for the rest of the game. So just for this game, so nobody is at a disadvantage for no good reason and everybody's playing fair, Sydney is just going to be counted as coastal mountain if you amphibiously invade, and then if you come over the land, it will not be mountainous. It won't be a mountain border. So just to clarify, if it comes up later, that's something we agreed on when we talked amongst ourselves. With that said, there's also another kind of oddity with the rules. Technically, though I am at war with the United States, there is no clause anywhere that we could find in the rulebook amongst ourselves that says that the peacetime bonus that the Japan would get is canceled. And I know that kind of runs counter to what you would expect, but it just isn't there. Now, I could, if I really wanted to, say, okay, well, I still get an extra $1 from that because this is only the second turn I've made combat moves against an enemy nation. And there's no clause that when I go to war with the United States, it goes away. But we agreed amongst ourselves that we're going to go ahead and ignore that facet of the rules, and we're just going to play it that I'm just not going to take the +1 bonus for, that's it. It's all gone, it's all dried up, so be it. So just to clarify, I could have technically taken another $1 from the U.S. oil trade this turn, but we just decided amongst ourselves we weren't going to do that. So just to clarify for anybody who's watching and why that worked out the way it did. So that's it. I'll have $33. This wraps up my turn. I'm going to do a quick overview of what territories have what units in them. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to place units. I just realized that. All right. This won't be too difficult. So we are going to go ahead and place the light carrier in Kyushu in port. We are going to, let's see, we're going to place a Marine in Kyushu as well. We're going to place a Marine in Sydney. We are going to place a artillery in Siam. We are going to place a militia in Burma. We are going to place a militia and a militia upgrade into the Marshall Islands, way out there. Whoops, Marshall Islands. So now it's got 2 infantry and a militia. We are going to place a... Where was I going to place the other guy? I honestly forgot. Yep. So the other militia and militia upgrade go into Siam. And then I have another militia left, which is going to go into... it's going to go into Kyushu. And then I'm going to have an infantry go into Tokyo. So that wraps up the actual turn itself. I'm going to do a quick overview of where my units are at for the other players. But if you wanted to just skip forward to the next video, that you wouldn't be missing much unless you want to have a clarification on where everything is as well. All right, guys. In Northern Manchuria, I've got nothing. Eastern Manchuria, nothing. Western Manchuria, excuse me, I have 3 infantry. Korea, I have 3 infantry and a mountain. Rihi, I have 6 cavalry, a motorized, 3 infantry, as well as a militia and a light minor factory. In Tokyo, I have an infantry. On the Kurile Islands up north, I have 1 militia. In Kyushu, I have the major factory, the seaplane, a militia, a marine, and I also have a light carrier in port. In the Sea of Japan Sea Zone, I have that'd be P-15, I have a destroyer. Then we'll scoot down here. In Hong Kong, I have an artillery and an infantry. In Burma, I have an infantry and a militia. In Siam, I have a fighter, I have a tactical bomber, a marine, a militia, 2 infantry, and an artillery. And in the Philippines, I have an infantry and a marine. In Sea Zone P-50, I have a light cruiser, 2 torpedo boat destroyers, and 2 coastal submarines. In Sea Zone I-12, I have a submarine. In Sea Zone I-7, I have a submarine and a torpedo boat destroyer. In Sea Zone I-4, I have a submarine. In Sea Zone P-43, I have a submarine. In Palau, I have an infantry and I have a naval transport in port. In P-63, I have a destroyer. In P-53, I have a destroyer. In P-64, I have a fleet carrier with 2 fighters, a light carrier with a TAC bomber, a battleship. I then have a light cruiser, a destroyer, and a submarine. In Queensland, I have a marine. In New South Wales, I have an artillery. In Sydney, I have 2 artillery and a marine. In P-73, I have 3 troop transports. I have a destroyer, 3 heavy cruisers, a battle cruiser, a battleship. And then in the South Island in New Zealand, I have 2 marines. And that and I'll be collecting 33 on hand, and I believe that covers everything. All right, so this is Wintermute out, passing it on to Madman Dan.